different types of equations. Who thinks that they can tell me what the different types of equations are? And you can guess. If you're wrong, it's fine. There are lots of different types of equations. There's only 4 that I really care about today, but I'm happy to add to that list if you come up with other names. What are the different types of equations that we have to solve? We're in grade 9. Think about the ones that you've learned in classes here. And if you don't know what their name is, you can just sort of give me an example of what it would look like. But what are the different types of equations we have? Good afternoon, Alicia. Okay, so dots is a form of factorization, and factorization is used in one of these equations, if that helps. So one of these equations uses factorization. Which one is it? The question. Have we got algebraic equations? Okay, so all of these will fall under the heading of algebraic equations. So all 4 of these will be algebraic equations. Yes, at the moment, this is all that has happened so far. What is it called when we only have an x? We don't have an x squared. We only have an x. What type of equation is that? Do we have any memories coming back? If we were to draw it as a graph, it would be a straight line like this. That might be able to help you. Linear, yes, there we go. Okay, we have a linear equation. Good, okay. Next one, when we have an x squared involved. So this is when we have an x in our equation, okay. If we have an x squared, what would it be called? If we have an x squared. So this is when we would use dots. This is when we would factorize. What type of equation is it when we have an x squared and we have to factorize? Silence, deathly silence. Yes, Dana, great. Okay, a quadratic equation. Okay, so quadratic is when we have an x squared involved. What if I have something that looks like this? So if I have a number and it's to the power of x, what type of equation would that be called when I've got a power like that? And it's to the power of x. What type of equation do you think that would be called? It sort of comes from its name a little bit. Like, think about what like another word for power is. Yes, good. Exponential. Okay, and then our last one we have is a fraction. That's like when we have something like x minus 3 over 2, for example. Okay, so it'll be a fraction. So when we're dealing with these different types of equations, we have to follow a different set of rules for each one. And that's why it's really important that we know what type of equation we're dealing with. If it is a linear equation, okay, so that's like an example, very quick example is if I had like 2x is equal to 10, okay? I know it's linear because it's just an x. What I want to do, I'm going to actually just write it slightly differently. I'm going to say 2x minus 10 is equal to 0. I want to keep my x's on one side and my numbers on the other side. So I'm going to keep this 2x on this side. I'm going to move my 10 over. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 2. And so my answer is going to be 5. Okay. So when we have a linear equation, we want x's on one side, and then we want our numbers on the other side. And then we're going to solve. That's for a linear. For a quadratic, so when we have an x squared involved, we don't want to do that. So if I have x squared, let's say 2x squared is equal to 4. Okay. When we have an x squared, like this, then we want to move everything to one side and make it equal to 0. So we're going to say, let's make this 4x. So we're going to say 2x squared minus 4x is equal to 0. We're going to factorize. So I'm going to take out 2x and I'm going to be left with x minus 2. And then we're going to get two different answers. Okay, so x would be equal to 0 or x would be equal to 2. So when we have a quadratic, we want to move everything to one side and we want to make it equal to 0. Then we want to factorize and we are going to get two answers for x. Okay, that's if we have a quadratic. Next, if we have an exponential, we want to get them to the same base as each other. So if I have 2 to the power of x is equal to 16, I need to get them to the same base. So I'm going to say 2 to the power of x is equal to 2 to the power of 4. And when they have the same base as each other, then their exponents are equal to each other. All right. And then the very last one over here is when we have a fraction, our goal is to find an LCD. I'm not going to show you an example of this one here because it'll be easier when we do a longer one. We're going to drop the LCD and then we're going to solve for x. Okay, so this is like a very, very, very short summary of all the different equations that you deal with in grade 9 and what we do when we deal with them. So if it's a linear, we want to get x's on one side, numbers on the other side. If it's quadratic, we want to move everything to one side and make it equal to 0. If it's exponential, we want to get them to have the same base as each other. And if it's a fraction, we want to get an LCD. Okay, that's why it's important to know what type of equation we're dealing with, because we don't know the equation, we don't know what to do. Is there anything that is currently on the board that doesn't make sense to anyone, or you would like clarification of, or yeah, if there's any questions about what you're currently seeing, please feel free to ask. Otherwise, please take a screenshot if you would like one, and then we're going to jump into a couple of examples and see how many we can get through today. But don't be embarrassed to ask. There is no shame in asking. You must use this time to help you as much as possible. Cool. Okay. Let's start here. So we're going to start. I'm going to first ask you, what type of equation is this? We've just spoken about them all. What type of equation is this one? Is it linear, quadratic, exponential, or fraction? Which one is it? Good. It is linear. Okay. So if it's linear, we want to get x's on the one side. We want to get numbers on the other side. So I want you to move whatever needs to be moved. I want you to solve for x. And when you have an answer for x, please pop it in the chat for me. It doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. It's just a way for me to see that you have finished the question and that you're done. And then we can go through it together. So as soon as you have an answer, just pop it in the chat for me. Thank you. We have our first answer coming in. Keep them coming. Okay, nice. So we're going to move our numbers onto the one side. So I'm going to move that 2 over. So 3x is equal to 4 plus 2, which means 3x is equal to 6. I'm going to divide by my coefficient on both sides, which means x is equal to 2. Probably only get, you might be lucky and get 2 marks for this question. They may give you 1 for getting the 6 and then 1 for getting the 2. Otherwise, this would just be a 1-mark question. Okay, did we all manage to get this one right? Are we making progress? Yes? No? Just so quiet. I don't know what to do with myself. I feel like I'm having a monologue here. So nice job. Well done. Cool.
They're doing really good though.
Too easy. Okay, great. I like that. All right. Will the coefficient not ever? Yeah, so definitely sometimes the coefficient won't, and then your answer will be a fraction, and that's okay. So don't be scared if your answer is a fraction. Okay. Next one, lots of different ways to solve this. Is this, what type of equation is this? Depending on your answer to that, you would solve it in two different ways. If you're viewing it as a linear equation, you may do something slightly different to if you're viewing it as a fraction equation, but both are okay. Solve and tell me what my answer for x is. Remember, with equations, you have to show each step. So you can't just plug numbers into your calculator and figure out what x is and just say what the answer is for x. You won't get any marks if you do that. You have to show your steps when it comes to an equation. You're good though, guys. As soon as you have an answer, pop it in the chat for me. Then I'll know that you're ready to move on. We can go on to the next one. Okay, Nama's coming in strong with an answer. See if we agree or if we disagree. Okay. So I'd probably view this one as a fraction equation just because I think it's a little bit easier. So in that case, I'm just going to put this over a 1. My LCD is going to be 4. So I'm going to multiply that by 4 and multiply that by 4. So I'm going to get x minus 3 is equal to negative 2 times 4. I would have a common denominator, but because it's a fraction equation, I don't have to write it, so I can drop it. So I'm going to have x minus 3 is equal to negative 8. Move that negative 3 over. X is equal to negative 8 plus 3, which means x is equal to negative 5. Okay, marks for this one, you would definitely get a mark for getting the negative 8, and then you would get a mark for getting your answer of negative 5. What are we sitting on? 0, 1, or 2 out of 2? Let me know. 0, 1, or 2 out of 2. Nice. Based on the answers that were coming in the chat, it sounds like most of you were getting this right. So I think we're going to have lots of 2 out of 2s, which is good. And if you got 0 out of 2, that's also okay, as long as you're learning from it and you understand where you went wrong, then we can fix it. And if you have questions, you must just ask. Okay. Everyone's favorite question next. We're going to bring in some exponents, because I know how much you guys love exponents. Okay, so this is an exponential. This is an exponential. So our goal here is to get the same base as each other. And once our bases are the same, then our exponents are the same. Yeah, you can absolutely take a screenshot. Memories. This is an exponential. Once our bases are the same, then our exponents are the same. Oh, num. Okay. You're gonna push your number. So you're gonna say 27. Then you're gonna push equals. You're gonna push shift. And then you're gonna push the button that looks like this. And then above it in yellow, says fact. Those are the 4 you're going to push. And then you're going to push equals again, I think. Don't know if you have to push equals again afterwards. No, you don't have to push equals again. Now remember with this one, again, we can't just plug in numbers to see what works. We have to show all of our working. I'm going to give you, I think 1 more minute should be enough. And then I want you to start thinking about what we could do here. As soon as you have your answer, please put it in the chat for me. Okay, we're getting some answers coming in. Okay, let's go. So, okay, this part over here, this is just a way for us to get what this does is it gets our prime bases for us. It doesn't always give us exactly what we're looking for, but for the most part, it will help us. It gives us our prime bases with the exponents in our calculator so that we don't have to do that ourselves. So if you put this into your calculator like this, you should get the answer of 3 cubed. Now, if you don't know how to do that, please let me know and we'll happily help you through. But that's just telling us this 27 over here can be written as 3 cubed. And then we would have the same base as each other. So we're going to say we've got 3 to the power of 2x plus 1, and that's equal to 3 to the power of 3, which is all to the power of x. Okay. Now remember, when we have a power to a power, we times them. So that's the same as saying 3 to the power of 2x plus 1 is equal to 3 to the power of 3x. Now our bases are the same, and so that means our exponents are the same. As soon as our bases are the same, our exponents are the same. So we can say 2x plus 1 is equal to 3x. And now when we get to this point, we can just solve it like a normal equation. So we can say 1 is equal to 3x minus 2x, which means that 1 is equal to x. And if you want to write it as x is equal to 1, that's also totally fine. You can leave it like this, or you can change it as x equals 1. But that's your answer. For this one, let's see where your marks would go. You would get 1 for getting the 3 to the 3x. You'd get 1 for getting to this point over here, and then you get 1 for your final answer. So that would be out of 3 marks. So let me know where we're sitting with this one, 1, 2, or 3 out of 3. 1, 2, or 3 out of 3. Four. And how'd you get 4? 4 out of 3. You're just giving yourself a bonus mark for being here. Oh, okay. All about the magic. Got it. Nice. Good job, guys. Okay. Jump into some fractions, I think. If you want a screenshot, please feel free to take one before we move on. Okay. Oh, no, that one's too easy for you guys. Okay. I want to know what x is. This is a fraction equation. Think about what you have to do. Do not fall for the traps that have been set for you. I'm telling you right now that they are traps. Do not fall for them. Just go through it slowly. Use brackets. Use them carefully. Think about what your LCD would be. Don't fall for the trap, the first trap or the second trap or the third trap. And if you would like some guidance along the way, just feel free to pop a question and direct message and I'll help you out if there's something you're uncertain about. Oh, Lunta's coming in with an answer. Let's see if people agree or disagree.
You getting them, my people?
Oh, some positives, some negatives. Ooh, but we're both in a similar vibe. So we'll see. We'll see if we're okay. Oh, we've got another positive.
At least we're all getting one number, just the signs are different.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. So LCD, first trap of the evening is if you forget to put that over 1. That's trap number 1. Hashtag trap. Okay, trap 1. If we don't put that over 1, we often forget to include our LCD. So it's important to do. Second trap is by not putting these in brackets. If we don't put these in brackets, we're going to make a mistake when we multiply that negative by the negative, and our sign is going to be wrong. That's trap 2. Okay, I can't really see that. Okay, so what we're wanting to do is we want to get our LCD. Our LCD here is going to be 12. So we're going to multiply that by 4. We're going to multiply that by 3. We're going to multiply that by 12. Okay, so that's going to look like this. 4 times x plus 2 minus 3 times 2x minus 4 is equal to 12 times 3. You don't have to have it in brackets. You could just say 12 times 3, or you could jump straight to 36. We don't need to write our LCD because it's common, so we can drop it. Okay, now when we get to this point, we're going to do distribution. Now, the reason these brackets are so important is if we don't have them, we're going to have some issues. So 4x plus 8 minus 6x plus 12 is equal to 36. Then we're going to get our x's on one side and our numbers on the other side. So we're going to keep those on one side, and we're going to get all of those to the other side. So we're going to say 4x minus 6x is equal to 36 minus 12 minus 8. So negative 2x is going to be equal to 16. 24, yes, okay. Just double checking my maths there. Yes. We're going to divide both sides by negative 2. And so we get x is equal to negative 8. Big well done to those of you who got the negative 8. If you didn't, let me know where you went wrong. I'm very curious to hear if you fell for one of my traps, if you fell for my trap on the right, or if you fell for my trap with the brackets. If you fell for either of those, let me know. But yeah, tell me how this question went. Give me an idea of at which point things went south. Or if you found it really easy and you were able to do the whole thing, that's also great. Just give me, yeah, just tell me stories. That's such an angry face. You're determined. I like it. Okay, cool. Guys, I think let's go down to Brian and take a quick brain break. Marita says that he's got a riddle for us to do. So if you want to check that riddle in the chat for us, that would be great. And then we can do the quick maths one that I've got here, but I'd like to see your riddle first. I know it is so quiet, Anam, but you can also make it less quiet. Like, you guys just need to talk. I can't talk for you.
Exactly, Anam. And you haven't even raised your hand yet.
Yeah, I don't have the kind of power to just talk for all of you. I can't force you into talking. Your voice doesn't sound good today. Where's my riddle? Surely these random words that you are spamming us with are not your riddle. Like, what are we supposed to do with oop? I also like his shoes. What has 4 words and sometimes 9? Okay. What has 4 words and sometimes 9? What has 4 words and sometimes 9? What has 4 words and sometimes 9?
Get the message. What is 4 word and sometimes 9? So the answer should have 4 word and
Wait, so wait, hold on. So Alicia got it, but I still don't understand how that's the answer.
huh? Alicia got it.
Oh, did you mean letters? What has 4 letters and some
And sometimes 9.
oh no, that still doesn't make sense. How does it sometimes have 9 though? I also don't get it, Lenumta. We're on the same page as each other. Alicia, tell us what's going on.
Ma'am, so I saw Hore that sometimes has 9 letters, right?
Yeah.
And then if you break it up and make it sum, it has 4 letters.
Oh,
What has
wow.
4 letters and oh my gosh.
Genius.
Wow.
Yeah, thank you, Alicia. Thank you.
Welcome, ma'am.
Wow.
You're the only one. The rest of us were like, huh?
Wow, that was so tricky.
Sum plus times is 4 plus 5 is 9. Oh, you guys are so right. Okay. Well done. Well done for you guys getting it. I feel really stupid now, but now we know our answer.
Yeah.
Let's do a quick maths one. It's not too bad of a one. It's not too bad. You should get there nice and quickly. And as soon as you've got your answer, chuck your answer in the chat for us. Batman.
Let's see who can figure this one out.
Come on, guys. I know you can figure it out. Oh, guys, my cat has joined us again. He only joins for your lessons. He never joins for the other lesson. Just comes to, I think it's probably because he wants dinner, actually. It's probably what this is about. He's like, hello, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
For food. Oh, 119. You saw my trap. I have 2 traps. Well, Marilla, in fairness, I do think my cat is actually in charge. I think that I live in their home, basically. They allow me to live here. This cat's name is Charlie. You can see he's quite hefty, which is why he wants dinner. Okay. I think I'm going to take you guys out your misery. So, first one, nice and easy. These are obviously 4, because 4 plus 4 plus 4 is going to give us our 12. So hopefully everyone got there. So this one's 4. So what is this one down here? Yes, 8. Okay. Then we have something plus something times 4. Oh my gosh, Charlie, can you just, okay. So something times 4 plus something has to give us 50. So we're going to say 10 times 4 is 40, and 40 plus 10 is going to give us the 50, which means this one's going to be 10 here, and this one's going to be 10 here. And then this is something times itself plus 10 has to give us 35, which means each of them are going to be 5, but there are 2 rainbows, so that's going to be 10. This is going to be 10 times 8, which is 80, 80 plus 10, which is 90. And that is our answer. Nice. As my cat is purring so loudly. Can you hear him? I don't know if you can hear him. Okay, let's jump back into some equations. Let's see how many more we can get through to tonight before our time comes for your quiz. Okay, this question is out of a beautiful 5 marks. I will be so stoked if you guys can get all 5 of those marks. Let's see. We've spoken about the different traps that you can fall into now, so hopefully you don't fall into those same traps with this one. Let's see. Let's see how it goes. Oh, sorry, Kutwana, I didn't see your 90 because I was dealing with this fat cat jumping all over me. But well done for getting it.
We can do this, my pips. I
Yeah, you
believe
guys are
in
doing
y'all.
so well.
Yeah, let's try this one. Let's see. Yeah, if they do get this one, it's true. I'll also be like, wow.
So stoked. 5 marks, guys. 5 marks in your test or exam. It's a lot of marks. Come on, guys, keep going. Try and get that right answer. When you've got an answer, let us know. Tell us, like, yeah, just don't fall for the traps. Think about what you're going to do to each step. Let's try and make sure everyone gets that 5 out of 5. And now you can't take my cat. You can't take Brian and you can't take my cat. They're both mine. There is an LTD, Alicia. Absolutely. He's just staring at me. I'm like fairly certain he's just hungry. It's like, I don't know what to do. Like, he's just sitting on my desk staring at me. It's a good question, Anam. We're going to have to find out. Okay, so if you're not getting a full number, keep it as a fraction rather. So we don't want to have decimals when we're dealing with equations. We only ever want to deal with fractions or whole numbers. Okay. Oh, hi, Charles. Okay, let's go. So we are going to brackets these to make sure we don't fall for that trap. We're going to think about what our LCD is going to be. What is our LCD in this question? What is our LCD? Come on, guys. What's our LCD? $20. Okay, so we're going to times this by 10. We're going to times this by 4. We're going to times this by 5. And that's 0 times 20, which is just 0. So it doesn't matter. We're going to have 10 times x minus 2 minus 4 times 4x plus 7 minus 5 times 1 is equal to 0. We can do our distribution. 10x minus 20 minus 16x minus 28 minus 5 equals 0. Keep our x's on one side. 10x minus 16x is equal to 5 plus 28 plus 20. Negative 6x is equal to, what's that going to give us? 48, 53. Is that right? Yes. We're going to divide both sides by negative 6. And so x is going to be negative 53 over 6. Okay. Let's try break out where your marks would be over here. So you would get a mark for getting the 10x minus 20. You get 1 mark for getting both of those terms. You would get 1 mark for having the negative 16 and the negative 28. That would be another mark. And then you would definitely get a mark for this negative 5 over here. So that's sitting on 3 marks if you got to that point. Then you would probably get a mark for getting to this point over here. So the negative 6x equals 53. You'd probably get a mark there. And then 1 mark for your final answer. How did this question go? Where were we at? Benota, tell me things.
Let's see some work.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
Ma'am, for questions like this, should we leave them in fraction form or write them in decimals?
Always, always, always leave it as a fraction for your answer.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. All right, guys, if you want to take a screenshot, please feel free to take one. And then we're going to jump into some quadratics after this. Okay. nice one, but we can deal with that later. I actually want us to kind of look at one a little bit different first. Let's start with this one here. Okay, so have a look at this question over here. We know it's a quadratic because there's an x squared. Okay, that's how we know it's a quadratic. As soon as we see that it is a quadratic, we need everything to be one side and equal to 0. Now that's already the case, so that's great for us. Okay, they've already done that for us. Our next step, so our first step when it's quadratic is make it equal to 0. Our second step when it's quadratic is to factorize. Okay, so from here, you need to look at these over here and think, how can I factorize that? So I want you to try and factorize it, and then I want to get my two answers for x. And I want you to be very careful with those two answers. Be careful with your signs. Yeah.
Now is that time where we go dum 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 on the movie. Dum, 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 waiting for answers, guys.
Yeah, just for you and me though, Yolanda, because we're the only ones talking tonight. So it's just a party between the two of us. And Kudwado, who's like being our little savior with answers in the chat.
Let's go. Let's go. Alicia, the question is nice. You factorize.
Just factorize. As soon as you factorize, it's actually nice and easy. Okay, let's go. Factorize. This is a trinomial. When it is a trinomial, what we do is we take our constant and we think about the factor pairs. Now with -3, the only factor pairs we can have is 1 and 3, and we're trying to get -2. So we're going to say x minus 3, x plus 1. It is a trinomial that we have factorized. Once we have factorized, we say either this is equal to 0 or this is equal to 0. So we say x minus 3 equals 0 or x plus 1 equals 0. Move that 3 over, so x equals 3. Move that 1 over, or x equals -1. And those are two answers. Anyone have any questions about this that they do not understand? This is your time to ask. If you'd like some clarification on something, ask away. But the key for these questions is to identify that it's an x squared and to identify that it's a quadratic. And that once we find that it is a quadratic, we make it equal to 0 and then we factorize. So Alicia, this is the easiest way. This is actually the only way when we have these types of questions. But as long as you're practicing your factorizing and your factorizing gets nice and strong, you should be okay. All right, guys, let's do one last question for the evening. Let's do this nasty exponential question that was just above this one. I'll be really excited if people can figure this one out. You're going to have to use your brains. You're going to have to think about the different steps that would be necessary, because we need those bases to be the same and we need them to be on the same level. We can't have a base that's chilling at the bottom of a fraction. So I want you to think very carefully what to do here. I'm going to give you a couple minutes to try this by yourselves. but I will show you how to do it so that you know how to do it in a test or exam. But yeah, let's see if any of you can figure it out without me first, because that would be quite cool. No, don't give up, Batman. Keep persevering, keep trying. Just keep trying. You will be able to get it. Don't be sad. Keep giving it a go. Keep giving it a go. I'm going to give you guys 1 more minute to give this a try, and then I'll take you out of your misery, okay? I feel like you guys can figure it out, though. Oh, okay. Okay. I see. We got to get these to the same base, right? So if we do our fancy trick with our 64 over here, we should be able to see that that's going to be what? How are we going to get that 64 to have a base of 2? 2 to the power of what is going to give us 64? 2 to the power of what is going to give us 64? 2 to the power of 6 will give us 64. Okay, cool. Yes, Sana, I love that negative. Okay, so I'm going to do it in 2 steps, but that negative is a great start. So I'm going to have 2 to the power of 3x minus 4 is equal to 1 over 2 to the power of 6. So all I've done is I've changed that 64 to have a base of 2. But remember, if I want to move something, I can. I just have to change my exponent. So I'm going to make this 2 to the power of 3x minus 4 is equal to 2 to the power of negative 6. Now, if you're in your exam and you don't know what to do, they're not going to use huge numbers here. So then you can do a little bit of trial and error to help you out. So for example, you could put 2 to the power, as soon as you see it's a fraction, you know it's going to be negative. So for example, I put there 2 to the power of negative 4, and you'll get your answer and you'll see it says 1 over 16. So I know I'm going to have to go higher. Okay, so if you really struggle with this idea, your calculator can help you to make sure you get the right answer there. Now we're at the point where our bases are the same. And as soon as our bases are the same, then our exponents are the same. And so I can now say 3x minus 4 is equal to negative 6. So I've done all of the hard work at this point. I can move my 4 over. So 3x is going to be equal to negative 6 plus 4, which means 3x is going to equal negative 2. And then I just need to get x to be alone. So I'm going to divide both sides by 3, and x is going to be negative 2 over 3. So marks for this one, you would get a mark for getting that 2 to the negative 6. You'd get a mark for getting the full straight equation, and then you'll get a mark down here for the negative 2 over 3. So this one would be sitting out of 3 marks. How did this question go? Where did you land up hitting roadblocks with it? Nice job, 3 out of 3. I love it. Where did we hit roadblocks with this question? Let me know.